Alright, today's project, upgrade the Pioneer 1000 3-seater from the stock halogen headlights to the LED headlights that you would find on the deluxe model. So what do you need? Well, we need the box of headlights, and I would recommend buying the genuine Honda ones. And we also need the instructions, which can be found on the Honda website. I'll put a link to them below. If you're like me, sometimes you like to see a video of how to do something. Maybe you're more a visual person, you don't like following these really interesting paper directions, so I'll try to show you how to do it. Maybe you won't even need these. So, why am I upgrading the headlights? Real quick, the reason is, honestly, because I really like how the LED headlights look. They give the front end a more like sporty blacked out look, and obviously they put out a lot more light, especially on the high beam setting, which will really help for nighttime driving. Now, the factory headlights aren't that bad, but after I saw the Pioneer 1000 with the LED headlights in the showroom, I had to have them. So that's why I'm putting them in. Total cost that I'm going to have into this, obviously, like I said, you need the headlights. I forgot to mention you need the harness as well. I used a different harness. So this is a genuine Honda harness. I paid a total of, it was about $300 for the headlights and $20 for the harness. So I have about $320 in this. You'll see a lot of sites on eBay or a lot of auctions on eBay have about $350 for everything. You can save yourself a little bit of money by buying them separately. Okay, for step number 1, I'm not going to be able to film this and show you at the same time. So you need to get up under the front end here, and you'll see your air intake pipe where it comes from the back and goes up under the hood. You're going to loosen the band clamp right here. After you have the band clamp loosened over there, you'll come over and we're going to remove the front bumper. So to do that, on both sides you have it's like an Allen head bolt here and another bolt here. Take these out on both sides to remove the front bumper. These bumper bolts are 14 millimeter, FYI. And these Allen head bolts are a number 5 metric key. On mine, it's fairly loose. After you get the 14 bolts and the Allen heads out, on each side you'll see two 12 millimeter right here and here bolts. There's 2 on each side, and those are the last that have to come out to get the bumper off. Okay, after you remove all 4 bolts, the bumper pulls off the front. You go ahead and set that aside, out of the way. Alright, after you've got the front bumper removed, here's where we're at. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove all these clips. To do that, you can take a screwdriver or just your finger. Once you get the middle part pulled out, these will just pull out of here like this. Just make sure you don't lose anything when you're taking them out. You'll remove the clips up here, and then there are 2 clips underneath, and you want to do that. We'll just work on this side for now. Skipping ahead, the next step after that will be to remove the front door, driver's side door. To do that, you open the door and you'll see there's bolts on the hinges. When you take those out, the doors pull right off. So let me get these clips out. I'll be right back with you. Also, when you're taking out the clips, there's 2 more right over here. Actually, 3 more. Right here, here, and here that need to come out. Okay, real quick, I want everybody to see. There's more. Once you get the doors off, there's the clips over here, like I mentioned. And then you got to come down here. And as you're going down where the hinges were bolted in, you'll see that there's more. 1, 2, and there's a clip that bolts into the floor. 3, and then underneath in the fender well, there's 1. Once you get all the clips out, the fender comes off, and you're left with this. Then it's time to do the same thing that you just did on the driver's side on the passenger side. Alright, after we get the doors off on both sides, which by the way, the bolts for the doors are 10 millimeter. This is what we're left with for now. Got our fenders off. Then we're going to come under here, and under each headlight there's a 10 millimeter bolt that bolts into the, looks like the bottom of the headlight. We're going to zip that out. First on the driver's side. Then we'll come over here to the passenger side. And same thing, remove the bolt. Alright, after you have those 2 bolts removed, the next thing you're going to do is remove the battery. So the first thing is remove this little metal strap that retains the battery. And there's 2 10 millimeter bolts that hold that down. And that comes off. And then you just use a flathead screwdriver to remove the positive and negative terminal, and the battery lifts straight out. All right, now the battery is removed, we're going to remove the air filter cover, which is here. And there's a clip back here that you have to remove also. And then these little push-in clips to pull this out of here. After we get this out, we're going to remove the fuse panel and the starter relay. And all these are clipped and pushed in place. Very easy to remove. You'll see that there's some wiring that's pushed down into the frame. It's all just like push pins. So you just want to carefully remove your fuse panel, your air filter housing, and this relay here. What we're basically trying to do is get the plastic off the front of the vehicle so we can get to the headlights. And they've made it about as hard as a job as anything. It's not necessarily hard, more like time consuming. It's a very time consuming job just to change some headlights. Okay, just to help you out a little bit. So to remove the fuse box here, what you do is you stick a screwdriver down in here and it releases these clips. Now, like I said, the whole point of this is to get the front plastic off the vehicle. So once we get the wiring pulled out of its place, there's some connectors that we have to remove. One of them is right here. Alright, so once you get this one unclipped, there's another one over here that clips on right here that we get undone. And then once you get all the wiring pulled loose, you can get it all up and push it up out of the way, up under the front of the dash. And this will leave you access now to your bolts and clips. So, to get off the hood, or I should say the front, you've got a series of bolt here, clip, 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 bolt, Coming down here, we have 2 bolts that will need to be removed. Down inside, under where the battery was, you've got a bolt here. And you have another bolt over here that has to come out. And then clips down in here. I would recommend putting maybe a shop towel or something else down in your air filter hole. That way nothing falls in while you're taking clips out. Definitely don't want that. I'll be back in just a second once I get some of these clips out. I've got all the bolts removed, which, thank you Honda, this one was stripped from the factory, completely stripped out when they put it in. And these are also, these bolts are the number 5 Allen key also. But after you get everything in, do a little finagling, but the whole front end will come off like this. And you are left with what you see here. Front completely removed. Okay, so now that we've got the front off, here's what it looks like. Pretty bad. This has been out one time, and that's where all the mud goes. But what you want to do is put something down to protect your fender, flip it over on the underside, and you'll be able to see we're almost there. Now it's just a matter of removing the headlight assemblies. Now that we've got it flipped over and we can work. How you do that is we will remove these caps here. Alright, so once you have the cap off, we're going to remove the old connector. You'll see here, just like your new harness, these are color-coded for the right and left side. To remove the harness, take a screwdriver and pry behind the red tab out towards you, and then reach under, push in on the tab, and disconnect it like this. So as you can see, this is the harness that we're going to be replacing. It runs across the front of the fender and goes in through here. It's one of the things we disconnected. So after we take it out of this side, we're going to completely remove this harness from the vehicle, and we're going to replace it with the LED harness. Okay, now that we've liberated the harness, there's 4 screws you need to take out. This screw, this screw, this screw, and this screw on both sides, and that will completely remove the headlight assembly from the plastic fenders. Alright, so here we've got it removed on this side. Also, another great tool to get all these little brown clips out is one of these automotive trim removal tools, so you can pry it out without breaking them. Once you take all 4 screws out, this will pull off. And then what we're going to do on both sides is to free the headlight from the black housing. There's a screw here, and it's connected to a spring, and there's a little nut on the back of it. We're going to turn that screw out and remove it, being careful not to lose the spring. And then the headlight will pull straight up out of the top of here, out of its little mounts that it turns on. And it's the same for both sides. So remove the screw, be careful not to lose any of these parts, because you will reuse them with the new headlights, and pull the headlights straight out on both sides. So once you get the screw out, like I said, you're just going to move the headlights and wiggle each side out. Wiggle each side out until you can free it from the housing, like this. So now we've got both headlights removed from the black housing. Now it's time to start installing our new parts. I've gone ahead and transferred the spring over to the new headlight. And also with your headlights, they give you in the box these little plastic caps. These have to go on the end of your headlights. there's a little tab, so they'll only fit on there one way. Okay, so once we got our tabs on there, we're ready to install the new headlight assembly into the plastic frame. Okay, so just in case everything looks a little crazy to you, how you get the new headlight back in is you slide the tab in the headlight down through the hole in the bottom, and then the spring, let me try to get this so you can see, goes on here like this. So the spring sits in between, and the little screw head and the little washer slide up through the plastic, and then you can tighten it down so it'll hold the spring in place. What that does is that's your aiming mechanism, which allows the headlight to move up and down as you tighten the screw. So obviously once we get everything back together, we'll have to re-aim our headlights. Alright, after we get the headlights mounted in the assembly, and just flip it back around. We're going to line it back up with the bolt holes and put your screws back in. Secure everything back in. So Honda says before you install your headlights, you want to align this little triangle with this little line under the notch on the headlight. If these are in alignment, and you do that by tightening or loosening your screw here, then that's where you want to start off to get your headlights aimed. And then once they're on the vehicle and everything's back together, you can fine tune. After you get everything bolted back in, or screwed back in, the headlights that is, run your new wiring harness, put the connector through the hole, snap your push clips back in, and then it just runs in here. Plug your harnesses in, and then we'll take our caps and snap them back into place on both sides, maybe. And then it will be the reverse of removal to put everything back together again. And here is a quick shot, just setting the front fender back in place with new headlights. Like I said, everything is the reverse removal. Just make sure you don't forget all your clips. And make sure you don't forget to connect your air intake, the clamp that you loosened on the bottom. A lot of little clips to replace, a lot of bolts, a lot of things to put back. Just put everything back in the reverse removal. Alright, got everything put back together. And we don't have any spare hardware, so that's a good sign. Everything's back together. Visually, I like the look. So let's see how they do. Alright, here we are with the low beams. Then with the high beams, the bottom row turns on. Alright, so here's our lights shining on the garage. That's the low beams, and there's the high beams. Kind of hard to see on the camera, but it's extremely bright. Much, much brighter than the old halogen lights. So I hope this video helps. I know it was a little shaky at times on the focus. I was filming it by myself. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. I'll do my best to answer it. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. See you next time.